Hello, everyone. I'm Hanne Vedsted-Hansen, living in Denmark. I'm going to present to you self-compassion essential when quality of life is affected by endometriosis. Thank you so much to the Endometriosis Foundation of America for inviting me to present at this conference. It's a real gift for me to be offered the opportunity to talk about mindfulness, which has become close to my heart. The single most common word mentioned right after endometriosis, that is pain. It shows up like a big flashing neon sign, pain. But to me, there has been so much more involved in endometriosis than just pain. The concept, quality of life, is just as important. In quality of life, I and a lot of like-minded people in the context of endometriosis usually will include emotional well-being, control and powerlessness, sex, social support and relationships, work life, sleep quality, children, infertility, digestion, work capacity and treatments. The feeling of being left behind due to physical challenges, that could be heart problems, allergies, or diabetes. I'm sure you recognize and know all about it. And for us, it's due to endometriosis. So this is really my chance to tell you why mindful self-compassion is so well correlated with endometriosis. Like so many of you, over the years, I have been through a wide range of treatments. At one point, it felt like being there, tried that. After multiple surgeries over a period of 8 years, I found myself in a chronic pain situation depending on a regular intake of opioids. Sleeping at night was particularly troublesome. Many nights, I was horizontal in my bed for 8-10 hours, just to find myself starting a new day looking even more exhausted than compared to bedtime the night before. I'm sure any one of you will acknowledge that a combination of daily intake of opioids and working as an operational air traffic controller, which was my profession for over 40 years, that is an absolute no-go. So I looked the entire horizon round to find a psychologist specializing in chronic pain. One who really possessed more than the average master's degree in psychology and knowledge of pain. I ended up going by train for 9-10 hours round trip every other week for about half a year. From the health psychologist, I learned a variety of techniques. And thank goodness she didn't tell me in the beginning what I was about to embark on. Had I known that I was actually going to learn meditation, I'm pretty convinced I would have turned away from her doorstep. Back in 2006, I too had a number of misconceptions about what mindfulness was, what the possibilities with mindfulness were, not to mention all the real chances of mindfulness being used as pain relief, what they were. To many people, I'm pretty sure mindfulness is sitting on a meditation cushion, palms pointing upwards and breathing in and out. Yeah, right. To a certain extent, that was also what came to my mind in the very beginning of my mindfulness training. But what specifically made a shift in me was when it became possible for me to hold myself with a caring awareness and embrace myself with what is. That shift happened when I became aware of self-compassion. Self-compassion really helps me to work with and stay with difficulties by recognizing that they are there. And since they are there anyways, I might as well save time and energy by not resisting that reality. There's a well-known saying, always worth a repetition. Suffering equals pain times resistance. In other words, what we resist persists. Instead, I try with curiosity and kindness to investigate how it feels, where I feel it in my body, and then offering what I need right in the moment. Sometimes it's a gentle touch. Sometimes it's enjoying a hot cup of tea. Maybe going for a walk to get some fresh air and a bit of exercise. But sometimes I simply have to dig deeper and recap if I might have exaggerated my capacity over the previous days. In hindsight, from my own experience, I'm more than willing to admit that mindfulness has so much more to do with the way you're living your life. I'm convinced it has given me some insights I wouldn't have had if it wasn't because of the training in mindfulness. It's really a must for me to give you a felt experience of what self-compassion is. So for that purpose, I'll be leading you through an exercise. It's just a short one. It's called How Do I Treat a Friend? The Endometriosis Foundation of America will make a bonus track available with another exercise. It'll be available at their website. It's an informal practice called Soothing Touch. And I highly recommend you access that at a later point and try it out. It's a practice you can do right in the moment when you're feeling overwhelmed by pain. But this exercise, How to Treat a Friend, let's get started. Please take out a sheet of paper and then close your eyes and reflect for a moment on the following question. Think about various times when you have had a close friend who was struggling in some way, had a misfortune, failed, or felt inadequate, and you were feeling pretty good about yourself. How do you typically respond to your friends in such situations? What do you say? What tone do you use? How is your posture or even nonverbal gestures? Please write down what comes to mind. I'll now like to invite you to close your eyes again for the next question. Now think about various times when you were struggling in some way, when you had a misfortune, failed, or felt inadequate. How do you typically respond to yourself in these situations? What do you say? What tone do you use? Your posture, or also nonverbal gestures? Please write down what you discover. I'm going to share a slide with you. Do you ever relate to this person? Stupid, loser, ugly, not good enough? Now see if you can notice any patterns of difference between how you treat your friends and how you treat yourself in times of struggle. Normally at this point in the exercise, I would put participants into small groups so a discussion could come up. But since this is a workshop, I simply ask you kindly to deduce for yourself. I do, however, want you to note that preliminary data by Christian Neff et al. In 2016 suggests that 78% of people are more compassionate toward others than compared to themselves. Only 6% of people are more compassionate to themselves than others, and about 16% are about equal. So a simple definition of self-compassion could be treating ourselves with the same kindness as we would treat a friend when things are difficult. Or treating ourselves as we would like others, friends or family, to treat us. We're talking about three main components in self-compassion. Number one is self-kindness as opposed to self-judgment. Self-compassion, we treat ourselves with kindness, care, understanding, and support, just as we would treat a friend we cared about. The second component is common humanity as opposed to isolation. With self-compassion, we see our own experience of imperfection as part of a larger human experience. We recognize that everyone struggles, and this is normal. Often, however, when we struggle or fail, we feel something has gone wrong, that this shouldn't be happening. This creates a feeling of abnormality that is very isolating. I'm sure that's something anyone with chronic pain can relate to. Finally, the third component is mindfulness as opposed to over-identification. In order for us to respond to our struggles with compassion, we first have to know that we are struggling. Mindfulness allows us to turn toward painful feelings and be with them as they are. Mindfulness is a balanced state of awareness. We don't suppress or avoid what we are feeling, nor do we become carried away by the dramatic storyline of what is happening. I'm sure many people have misgivings about self-compassion that prevent them from practicing it. Maybe you are having some of these misgivings, or else know someone who do. But typically, misgivings are based on misconceptions about self-compassion. So for that reason, I like to uncover and talk about some of the common misconceptions. Self-compassion, has that got anything to do with a degree of self-pity? No. With self-compassion, it's not a poor me attitude. It's more like a recognition and a sharing of, yes, this is hard. This is how women with endometriosis are feeling, so I'm not alone in this. That also puts common humanity in play. Self-compassionate people are simply more likely to engage in perspective taking rather than focusing on their own distress. What about weakness? I want all of you to regard self-compassion as a strength that offers resilience when faced with difficulty. So self-compassion has absolutely nothing to do with weakness. You're better at recovering when you're suffering from pain because the resilience gives you strength and flexibility without being bent out of shape. Essential in the context of endometriosis is that self-compassionate people are better able to cope with chronic pain. I've heard a number of people insisting that self-compassion is selfish. All right, listen, if you previously found yourself belonging to the 78% in the exercise we just did, you already know how to cultivate compassion for others. Now, at times when you're in pain, I kindly ask you to include yourself in that same circle of people who benefit from all the goodness you readily and always hand out to your friends, because that will lessen your sense of separation from others. I need to highlight self-compassion is not a quick fix, and it has got nothing to do with self-indulgence. Self-compassion, being self-compassionate, is not a form of making excuses. I want you to know that self-compassionate people tend to take greater responsibility for their own actions. So please remember, anytime you care for yourself because of pain, no matter if that involves canceling an appointment for a cup of tea or a walk with your friend, I do hope such an act really may empower you against the potential self-criticism, which I know will sneak in on you. What will he or she think about me? Regard it, please, as an act of self-compassion. You simply deserve the self-care, period. For generations, most people have seen self-criticism as an effective motivator. But it's important for me to tell you upfront that self-compassion does not undermine motivation. It's directly opposite. Self-criticism actually undermines self-confidence, and it leads to fear of failure. Motivation with self-compassion comes from the desire for health and well-being, and it provides the emotionally supportive environment needed for change. I'd like you to know that you get the most benefit if you meditate just a little every day. As with everything else you want to be good at, you have to persist, persevere, and be patient. As I said just before, self-compassion is not a quick fix. Meditation requires training, and meditation requires discipline. Meditation is a process that you are transformed through. So for that reason, I do recommend 5 minutes every day rather than 20 minutes twice a week. The biggest obstacle to meditation really is that you forget to meditate. So in order for you to make meditation become a habit, I suggest you furnish a quiet corner in your home where you feel safe. Let meditation become like a daily ritual for you. Some people like to meditate as the very first thing waking up in the morning. Personally, I prefer to meditate right before going to bed, because that way it calms my thoughts and the sleep quality simply will be improved. So in a way, it has become part of my ritual in line with brushing my teeth before going to bed. You can meditate alone, or you can meditate together with your partner. Or why not try meditating together with your children? Even at preschool age, they can benefit from meditation. So make no mistake here. Meditation is for everyone, and meditation is for life. My presentation is coming to an end, and I do hope you have enjoyed it. In case I've been successful in sharpening your taste for more, I offer MSc courses of various kinds, Danish and English language. You'll find more information on my website, hannevedsted.dk. Please don't hesitate to email me directly if you have any questions regarding future courses. After my talk, a slide will be shown where you can find more information. I'll nevertheless mention that the Center for Mindful Self-Compassion at UC San Diego in California is your ultimate resource to look to with regard to mindful self-compassion. They list all upcoming MSc courses worldwide. And if research in mindful self-compassion is of interest, please look at Kristin Neff's website. I'm so grateful to the Endometriosis Foundation of America for letting me present at this conference. I also want to acknowledge the Center for Mindful Self-Compassion at UC San Diego. Credit given to Drs. Christopher Germer and Kristin Neff, the two authors of the Mindful Self-Compassion program. The exercise, How Do I Treat a Friend, plus much more of what I have presented the past 15-20 minutes, originates from that program. Thank you for being with me and have a wonderful day.